It's like the cover has been ripped off this man. This, whatever myth there was, as you said earlier, that he was a self-made man or that he was even a legitimate businessman, is gone forever.
You're listening to a man who's known Trump from the jump, part of the deal writer Tony Schwartz, weighing in on the bombshell by the paper he used to write for, the New York Times. Exhaustive front-page investigation of the Trump family's tax schemes and fraud, transferring hundreds of millions of dollars from Trump's dad to him. And today, the White House says the story was false, recycled, and boring.
Can you explain what is inaccurate about that story, if there's anything that is actually inaccurate about it?
It's a totally false attack based on an old recycled news story. I'm not going to sit and go through every single line of a very boring 14,000-word story.
They won't go through every line, but we will. Well, not every line, but let's look at the details which show why Trump may not want people reading every line, because the story uses documentary evidence and over 200 tax returns to, yes, document how at every step of Trump's career he was raking in not money from customers, but money from his daddy, and then proactively denying that he was doing it because he was obsessed with building this myth of the self-made billionaire. Take another article from the very same newspaper back in 1976, a Times profile that cast Trump as a Robert Redford look-alike, chauffeured around New York in his Cadillac, an ability to make his own money moves. It even quoted his father saying, "Everything he touches turns to gold." So that was the public pitch at the time. But actually his father and Trump knew there was no great golden touch, more of a son seeking handouts. In fact, within weeks of that very Times piece, Fred Trump was arranging a $4 million trust for his son, while Trump kept bragging he built things on his own.
At an age of 37, I don't believe anyone's really ever built more things than we have in terms of the business that I'm in.
But the Times documents how at that very time in the 80s, Trump was getting a salary from his dad, about $250,000 in today's currency, all the while saying it wasn't easy.
It's not been easy for me. It has not been easy for me. And, you know, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
The evidence shows that is a wild lie, because Fred Trump actually lent him over $140 million in today's dollars. And this is not some kind of starter money for when he was in his teens or 20s, or maybe a few gifts as he was growing up. What we find in the new piece is that while Trump was touting his riches on TV, he was getting some of the biggest gifts ever from his dad, like in 2004 when The Apprentice premiered. You see, both of those things you're looking at on the left and right are 2004. Money, 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 but that was the year Trump got $236 million in today's value from his father's estate. Trump claimed, of course, he only got $1 million. Now, he could have said 1,000 or nothing. Those numbers are off by so many magnitudes that maybe the round million just sounded like a more realistic lie. And the White House is casting the facts in the Times story as some kind of political attack. It's not. It's reporting. Facts are facts. And of course, it was Republicans who raised similar alarms back before Trump had government power.
He has spent a career of convincing Americans that he's something that he's not in exchange for their money.
He can release past year's tax returns. He can do it tomorrow. He doesn't want to do it because presumably there's something in there that is bad.
Here's the guy that inherited $200 million. If he hadn't inherited $200 million, you know where Donald Trump would be right now? Selling watches in Manhattan.
Those are Republicans calling out Trump as a fraud. The only factual difference between then and now is how much more evidence supports the claims you just heard them make, including, of course, this massive report in the New York Times. But all of this can also matter politically. Trump didn't win the presidency by some big margin. He got fewer votes and squeaked in through the Electoral College while withholding, as you heard the Republicans like Cruz say there, while withholding basic information about his taxes. He knew the truth wasn't going to help him in business or politics, the truth being that he was a very lucky heir. So he spent decades hiding his parents' help and claiming he got rich himself. And for people who follow the evidence, that myth is over.
No one wants to say anymore that Trump has finally been caught, that the Teflon has finally been scratched. But I have to say, the idea of who Donald Trump was that existed until today is gone forever.
Now, Trump can keep claiming that his career hasn't been, as he put it, easy, or to paraphrase 3-6 Mafia, that it's hard out here for a con man when trying to get this money for the rent, for the Cadillacs, and the gas money spent.
It's not been easy for me. It has not been easy for me.
The New York Times report matters because it shows it has been easy for him. It has been easy handouts and easy inheritance well into middle age. And the big question now, tonight, is how these financial facts are catching up with Donald Trump. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.